Good evening, friends. The month of August, we have seen a huge amount of volatility. And while we saw that volatility because of yen, because of recession, fear of recession, and then we saw clear-cut signal from the Fed there would be rate cut. So how do we see the market going forward? And that's what the topic of this webinar, Equity Outlook. So before I start my presentation, and of course then it's followed by the question and answer, small disclaimer. This webinar is just to enhance your understanding about the equity market. Please consult your financial advisor before buying or selling any stock. Investment in securities market are subject to market risk, and past performance is no indicator of future returns. So let's try to understand what happened in the market, Bank of Japan hiked the rate of interest. At the same time, the US employment data came in, which created a mini fear of recession in the US, and that also impacted the Indian market. Fortunately, Indian market did not fall as much as the US market went down, or the Japanese market went down. So that's shown a lot of resilience in the weak market sentiment. But overall, there was a modest gain in the month of August. Not substantial. What has also happened is that trading volume was little lower. Somewhere there is some amount of data coming out, and when I analyze the data, it does give me impression that there has been some impact in terms of activity in the market. And I'll show you with the data when I come to that particular slide, which gives me impression that some amount of people, there has been some tapering off happening in the market. I don't know why, what's the reason behind that, but that is what has happened. Cash volume declined second month in a row. We had seen robust cash volume in the month of June. Of course, that was a month which also was an election month. July was lower than what it was there in the month of June, and August is lower than the July. And that's why I was saying some activity coming to this one. Advanced decline ratio remain almost the same as what it was there in the last month. So there is no much change. I have been talking about sector rotation time and again. What happened? The PSU bank is one of the worst performing bank indices in the month of August, and so is the case with realty index. Pharma and IT did extremely well, and this despite the recession, fear of recession happening in the US. Pharma and IT did, and both are dependent on the US market. Okay. There are contradictory signals coming in from the various agencies on how India will grow. RBI maintained 7.2% GDP growth in the August monetary policy. Moody upgraded to 7.2%, but Goldman Sachs says growth will decline, and they basically reduced India's GDP to 6.7% for 2024 and 6.4% for 2025. Just one clarification, while Goldman Sachs talked about the calendar year, Moody and RBI talked about financial year 2025. But yet, there is you should not lower the India's GDP. Of course, our first GDP came to 6.7%, which is a little lower than what the expectation was. But it was expected because of heat wave, because of the election and so on and so forth. And it has not come as a surprise. In fact, when we look at the data on the India Inc. numbers also, it was reflecting, it is reflecting. So there is nothing kind of surprise. July inflation came at 3.54%. And if you ask me very frankly, I was surprised why RBI did not cut the rate. In fact, in the August policy, they did not change. They maintained this policy stance. Am I right? There was no change in reverse repo rate. This is despite the July inflation dropped to 3.54%. That's a 5-year low, raising prospect of return. Now, I'm very certain that in the month of October, as and when the Fed, the RBI MPC meeting happens, probability is very, very high. Okay, we should see the rate cut happening. One reason IBS seems to be playing little safe because protect the rupee. Otherwise, what would happen if the rate of interest goes down on the Indian currency? There could be outflow, and that could create some amount of pressure on this one. IIP growth for June was not so great, 4.2%, down from 6.2% for the month of May. Government, there was a lot of pressure on the government about the pension scheme. Old pension scheme, new pension scheme, government came out the new pension scheme for the government employee from 1st April 2000. Of course, there's announcement that will be applicable from 1st April 2025. Is it going to be too much on the exchequer? And the answer is no, it's 6,250 crore annually. So it's not a very big impact that's going to happen and that's going to disturb this one. But remember, this pension scheme is a state subject. It's not a central government subject. And each state has to implement based on their comfort level. Another major impact which happened is that Supreme Court allowed states to charge mineral mining taxes, and that's going to, of course, that will happen in a gradual manner, but that's going to impact some of the companies which are into mining. So these are the implications. Implications are huge for this, am I right? Because once this has started, now this will continue forever. This has a risk of pushing up the inflation. Why? Because your coal and other things will have to, the state will charge to the company in turn has to pass on that. Who will pay? People like you and me. So we need to wait and watch. See, sometimes there is a lag effect in terms of impact of that, and that can happen. New GST, the net GST collection for the month of August was up by only 6.5%. Now you may get confused. Why is Sunil saying 6.5%? The newspapers are saying 10%. The confusion is because of the gross and the net. Because I looked at it, what is actually government received after paying the refund? So net GST collection for the month of August is only 6.5%, and if you look at YTD is up by 10.2%, which is in line with the GDP projection that we have for this financial year of near about 10.5%. Monsoon was a worry, is no longer a worry. And I'll show you why it's no longer a worry. And one more thing which has happened, that, this La Nina, which was supposed to kick in by September, it seems to be now got postponed to the month of November. So there was a fear, if there's excess rainfall that can happen and that could damage crop production. I think that fear has been now taken a back seat. I'm not saying it's gone away, but it's taken a back seat. And if you look at the sowing area, which is happening in the Kharif production, 94% of the normal area. Same time last year, it was 93%. So there is a little marginal improvement. Of course, last year was not a very great year for the monsoon because we had a El Nino impact. India Inc. result season got over by mid of August. 8.8% growth in the top line, almost 10% in the bottom line. SEBI came out with a very interesting data on IPO, and we discussed this IPO where one SME IPO, 8 employees, 2 showrooms at one location. That's also a scooter, having revenue very minuscule and getting an interest of 4,500 crore from the investors. And I mentioned in one of my webinars that people are not looking at what company does, kitna turnover hai, kitna profit hai, who are the promoters, what is the board of directors. People have become momentum play kind of stuff. And this statement I made, I think, on Tuesday, Wednesday, I think I made a statement, am I right? And SEBI came out post that, so I was not aware of this report. What it says now, let's look at the finding. Of course, this finding is more for the main board. 50% of the retail investors sell their shares on the listing. So no one is investing in the IPO market for the long-term wealth creation. ये क्लियर कट ग्रे मार्केट प्रीमियम दिखता है, पैसा बनता है, निकल जाओ. And 70% within a year. Am I right? Out of shares sold in the listing, retail investors account for 54%. But what surprised me, when banks get out on the listing day. So I think somewhere it's not only that retail investors basically, somewhere banks also believe कि वो निकल जाओ, पैसा बना दो, खत्म हो जाए. The new investors who came in the market post-COVID are more active in the IPO market. And there's one more behavior. If the scrip is above 20%, probability is very high that you will get out of that company. For some reason, if the scrip is going negative, then people prefer to hold on. And someone sent me a very nice meme today. In the US, the definition of long-term investor is 10 years. The definition of short-term investors is anywhere between 1 to 3 years. In India, definition of long-term investor is the scrip goes below your purchase price. And the short-term is the scrip goes above your purchase price. And that exactly is reflecting in our investors' behavior. Let us shift focus from the Indian to the US. And the new data which will come in, I think, again it can raise a debate about will there be recession in the US or not. And someone also other day asked me in the webinar, if there is a recession in the US, what kind of impact India can have. So people are still not, that fear of recession is still not gone away from the people's mind. And one of the reasons is that even Fed don't want to be behind the curve and want to reduce the rate of interest. There's one more thing which is happening in the US market. The artificial intelligence companies are spending a huge amount of money. The question mark is that but paisa kabhi banega us pe. So what is an ROE or ROI on the investment being made by artificial intelligence? That's one of the reasons some of the companies which are associated with the artificial intelligence, the question mark has started coming in. Now we all know that artificial was the name of the game. That was the flavor of the season. And that's why we saw US market jumping very handsomely. So if that itself comes under scrutiny and that itself comes under question mark on the ROI, will there be slowdown in terms of spending? Because then there will be activism. Why are you spending so much money if there is no visible ROI and so on and so forth? I think that's another question that's going to coming, and that's also impacting the market sentiment. US inflation 2.9% in the month of July. Beautifully going towards 2%. The Fed has said time and again that we are not going to wait for inflation to go down to 2.9%. The moment we get convinced that inflation will go to 2%, we'll start acting on that. And due to that, Jackson Hole speech of Jerome Powell clearly said that there will be a rate cut in the month of September, that is this month. But that's not it. There are 2 more meetings. And do expect rate cuts even in those 2 meetings also. There is one school of thought which says that the money that is lying in the money market mutual fund there, once the rate of interest starts coming down, reason for people to invest in the debt market will come down. And that money can flow to the equity market. That's what the assumption is. We don't know whether it's going to happen or not. From US, let's go to the global economy. Bank of Japan really created a panic. Even Nikkei on 225 kept down substantially, almost recovered by the month end. So it's a smart recovery. Our neighbor Bangladesh is facing a political crisis. And still there is no clarity on when the truce can happen between Israel, Hamas and Hezbollah. The fear, of course, the crude oil price did move up because of this. But again, it did not sustain at the higher level. Purely, it looks like that there is more concerns about the growth in the global economy. This is a commentary. Let's go to the hard fact data. Just 1 second. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, as I mentioned, almost same as what it was there in the month of July. In June, we had 1.3, but now it's 1.1. Something very similar to July. Market cap touch new high. So, we keep talking about market cap to GDP and so on and so forth. Market doesn't seem to be in any listening. 466 lakh crore. Now, if you look at it, this data, 311 lakh crore. It increased to 466 lakh crore. So substantial jump from last August to this August. And if you look at this graph, it's almost like every month we are seeing a new market cap. Am I right? Somewhere in the month of Feb, we saw some decline in the month of March from the Feb. Okay, but then from March, April is better. June, May is better. June, July, and August. 466 lakh crore. We were only at 3.11 and little above, 250 lakh crore in September 2022. Because we're in September, in other words, we are almost double the market cap in 24 months. I was talking about cash turnover. In the month of June, 1.52 lakh crore came down to 1.39 and further came down to 1.25. So if you look at it, of course, as compared to August, we are still above. There is no doubt about it. Am I right? But it's coming 2 months in a row, it has come down. In other words, there seems to be some amount of a retail investors' participation seems to be reducing in this time. And that's why we see this data, the numbers are little lower. Nifty Pharma did extremely well. Nifty IT did very well. Small cap marginally up. Nifty up marginally. Mid cap almost at the same level. So is the case with Sensex. But look at Bank Nifty. Look at PSU Bank. 5.56% down. Nifty Realty 3.69% down. And metal is a victim of what's happening in the China. It continues to remain trading low. Pharma has done extremely well, and so is with IT. And I think consumption basket seems to be done well. Maybe because of the festive season is starting, and that could help it. Bajaj Auto, best performing, followed by Shriram Finance. So if you look at it, NBFC as a space seems to be started creating some momentum. Shriram Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Finance, they did extremely well. Out of top 10, top 3 are. Of course, we do own Bajaj Finance and Bharti Airtel in our top 10 holding in PMS, and both did extremely well in last 1 month. If you look at M&M, we exited. It's down in the month of August by 3.5%. But Adani Enterprise 4.7, Adani Ports 5.6. Somewhere there has been some selling pressure happening on Adani because of the episode that we all know about the allegation. So that really impacted the market. Tata Steel is the worst performer, 7.6%. One reason could be the steel prices are declining in the China. The Chinese economy is slowing down. Cheaper imports coming in, and that seems to be impacting And second thing, this mineral mining tax did also impact the sentiment on the steel companies. FIIs till 29th August, they were net sellers. Because of 1 day of 14,000 crore, they become net buyers in the month of August. And if you look at in 2024, they invested almost 43,000 crore. But the DI has invested 3.09 lakh crore. So and a lot of credit should go to our retail investors who are pumping in so much money that they have no other choice but to invest in the market, because how much cash call can you take? You can't take cash calls, right? And that's what is happening in the market. US, I think US did better this month. In the month of August, S&P 500 was up by 2.28%, while the BSE 500 was up by only 0.77%. Nifty50 was up by 1.14%, while Dow Jones was up by 1.76%. Am I right? So I think US market did better as compared to the Indian market in the month of this one. This is monsoon. Northwest was minus 13. Now they are 2% above. East and Northeast India continues to be facing a little problem in terms of rain. But overall, what it was there in 1st August last month, same time, 3%, I think we had 8%. And with La Nina, I think it's a good thing that we should not expect too much rain, which could have actually created a problem for the agri output. Rate cut probability, I think the market has started looking at maybe 125 bips cut by December, and there's a 21% probability that we could see 125 bips rate cut from present level. So 69% probability on 18th September, another 25% probability on 7th November, and then we could expect about another 50 bips point maybe by 45% probability and 75 bips probability by this one. So that's what the expectations are. Our sense is that we should expect anywhere between 75 to 125 bips rate cut in the next three monetary policies, that is 18th September, 7th November, and 18th December. If you remember, some of you people suggested that why don't we show how historical that month has performed. And we have a very bad habit of listening to our customers. All right. So what we did, we have shown the data, how market performed in each September month in last 11 years, 2013 till 2023. That's 2013 included. 7 times the market declined in the month of September. 7 times. Only 4 times it has closed in the green. And September 2018 was not so great. It's minus 6.3. The best has been September 2013, which is 4.1. So the historical trend suggests that September is not a very great month for the market. GST collection that we discussed about, there's another new slide that I put it up. Just wanted to get a clarity, just to get some idea about what's happening on the GST collection, because that gives you a real idea what's happening at the ground level. And if you look at it, I think somewhere we are at 1.73, 1.75 consistently in last couple of months. Of course, from month of July, we are down to 1.75. So there is some decline that has happened, but 10% Y-on-Y growth that has happened. So if you look at it, I think we are if you look at this data, and let me put it this way, so that let me draw a line for you, so you get an idea what I'm trying to say. If you look at this data, there is not much of a change happening there. So I think somewhere economy needs some more impetus, because this data gives the impression that what was there in the month of May is almost similar to the month of August. And this is gross GST collection. If you want, I can next time also put net GST collection, so we can put this one. GDP data, there's another slide that I thought, let me put it just to give an idea. Now, because of this 2 period, I think this data is looking very, this period, because of, apna COVID, this data looks little, the graph would have looked more smoother. But 6.7%, little lower than what it was there, and that seems to be reflecting in the GST collection also. What should we expect going forward before we open the floor for question answer? 75 to 125 bips rate cut in next 3 monetary policy, FOMC policy. Do expect minimum 25 bips rate cut this month itself. We all know that there are SEBI is right now under fire because of allegations and so on and so forth. But we do expect some measures to be announced by the SEBI to control the activity on the FNO front. And we do expect that to come in next 30 days or so. The economy seems to be needs some impetus, which we discuss about. And if you happen to listen to some of the retailers, they are saying that अपना retail इतना strong नहीं हो रहा है. Just excuse me again. So, retail sales is basically is a very important indicator, and whether we see a revival in the retail sales or not. This festive season, which is starting from Onam, then we have a Ganpati, then we will have a Navratri, then we will have a Diwali, and then we will have a Christmas also. I think India is entering to a very, very critical phase in terms of next 4 months is going to decide whether the consumption power that retail investors has. We have seen what happened to the auto sales number. Am I right? So that's this auto sales number. Whether the Retail Association also, that event that took place, some of the people did not sound very optimistic. So we need to, of course, everyone hope that the festive season bring in some amount of excitement in the retail level. And if that happens, I think market will closely watch that. And even I'll be looking at that data very closely. Fortunately, monsoon is good, and that should help the rural consumption. But rural consumption is basically, we need urban consumption growth also. So it should not happen that by the time the rural consumption revive, urban consumption slows down. So I don't think that's a very happy scenario. My sense is that we do have a higher base effect of inflation. So inflation should come down going forward also, and that could spur, or there should be a reason for RBI to cut rate of interest. So my sense is that we are not very far away from the rate cut from the RBI. And even with monsoon seems to be more promising now, even the worry on the food inflation seems to be going away. Yesterday I met someone who is one of the biggest producer of coffee, a supplier of coffee in the world. Out of 10 cups, 1 cup is supplied by them. He's our previous customer. And he was saying the coffee prices have gone up substantially. But my sense is that maybe that's more because of the global factors than the local factors. But my sense is that if monsoon remains good, if sowing has been quite good, I think food inflation should start coming down. Again, in the month of September, we will again go into the election mode, because Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir is going for election. There will be allegations, counter allegations, so on and so forth. But one critical state, and my sense is that in next 30 days, the election commission will announce the date for that. This is Maharashtra. And market will closely watch what's happening in the Maharashtra. For some reason, NDA does not live up to the expectation. It could dampen the sentiment on the market, because that also gives a signal that government ability to push reforms will take a back seat. Number one. Number two, in a way, it will force even the NDA government to go a little populist, spend money on more welfare programs to win over the voters. So I think that's a very, very critical that market will be looking forward or taking it going forward. We all know that I've been informed that Himachal Pradesh, I think, is not able to pay the salary and the pension on the first day of the month. That's what the news. I have not cross-verified that, but that's what I happened to read on Twitter, if my memory serves me right. We don't want to run into that kind of a situation, because we want money to be spent on the growth. We want, because if that money I spend, more money I spend on the welfare programs, it should not come at the cost of capital expenditure. Because what would happen, that could impact the future growth of this country. Am I right? With this, let's open the floor for question and answer. You have to excuse me, yaar, because I'm just suffering from very bad cold actually. Yesterday I was traveling, I was out, and in the lounge I happened to have fruits which was little chilled one, and directly set into the flight which was also a little cold, and that created a problem for me. So I was absolutely fine till 6 in the evening, and then something has to go wrong, and I'm having a very bad cold. In fact, I was not planning to come to the office today, but 4 meetings were lined up, and then I had this webinar also. And you people have been complaining that I'm basically not coming more frequent in front of you. I thought if I cancel this webinar or postpone this webinar, you people will get disappointed. That's the reason I thought, let me, even if I'm not keeping well, let me come in front of you. Or let's open the floor for question answer. Syam Dasari sir would like to know your opinion how the companies which are involved in investment, sale trading, broking, sub-broking business, corporate advisory service, which get income from sale of securities, secondary market, going to perform in the short, medium and long term. So Syam sir, the market is doing well. And if the market is doing well, they should logically be doing well. Am I right? So in our sense is that market is showing a lot of resilience. That's what we saw because of in the first week of August. So logically they should do well, sir. Badal sir say your view on the health sector looks extremely promising. Extremely promising. Please don't be in a rush to get out of that sector. I think that should make reasonably good money for the investor. Dinakaran said, nice to see you again and listen to your wisdom. If there is excess liquidity in the market, then valuation is going to be expensive for all the stocks. That is, SIP monthly contribution is crossing 21,000. If this is the new truth offer, how should one approach? Thanks and regards. Dinakaran said, I think then it becomes a new normal. Till such that flow does not recede. I think that's a new normal. The market can sustain at the high valuation for a longer period of time. And that could be the new normal. So as long as the liquidity is there in the market, any fall or any dip in the market will see money coming in. Number one. Number two, a lot of funds are also sitting on the cash component. Am I right? Some of the leading, I was looking at the other day, the fact sheet, and one leading AMC having near about 70,000 crore or so, 11% was in a cash, which is almost 7,000 crore now. So if for any dip in the market, that money will come into the market and they will start buying if the valuation they believe is right actually. So I don't think that will basically protect the downside. So my sense is that till such time liquidity is strong, it would be unwise to basically go short on the market. Prabhakar Raut saying, where can we see stock rating for all suggested stocks and those who were not told to sell till now to decide on continuing holding them? So we do have a rating on each and every company. So I don't know if I understood your question right. We have a score on the company. Please look at the score and decide what needs to be done, whether you to decide to continue holding them or not. So that's what you should be doing it. And all mojo stock खातों से आपको मिल ही रहा है क्या है rating क्या नहीं है. So it's all available, sir. I don't know why, what is the dilemma you are facing. Sri Hari, whether monthly GST collection data be strong economic activities of the India and it can be considered as a market indicator? Of course you can. So, GST is a function of two data, the domestic and the import. Of course, the domestic has not done so well in the month of August, but the import has done well. But of course, it's a good indicator of what's happening in the economy. So for some reason, GST collection slows down, that means economy is not doing well. And if for some reason, if GST collection is higher, economy is doing very well. So that's how we should look at it. And is it because the market indicator, don't get confused, market and the economy. We have seen economy doing well and market not doing well, and vice versa also. Am I right? So don't get confused with market and the economy. Yes, there is a lag effect, but in the short run, there may be a disconnect between these two. Rana says, please tell me about equity and SIP. Sir, what do you want to know? Sorry, if you can elaborate your question, Rana sir, it will really help me to understand. Tell me about equity and SIP. I would love you to expand your question, helping me to give a proper answer. Suhas is saying, I know you have certain views about SME IPOs and stock, but since there is a risk in SME stocks, we need your help to select genuine SME IPOs or stocks. Please examine. Suhas sir, I know you people have been asking for that. We are exploring that, how best we can analyze those companies. See, many times, this SME IPO don't do analyst meet also. We don't have a benefit of listening to the management, interacting with the management to judge how good or bad they are. One of the very prominent investors made a statement that 9 out of 10 SME IPOs are manipulated. Whether it's a 9, 8, 10, it's an area of debate. Unfortunately, SME IPO and even SEBI has sound a warning bell there that there is a problem there. So be careful, SME IPO. I know it looks very exciting, very tempting to go for because you make quick money. Am I right? But apply your judgment. Of course, we will come back to you. How do we have a bandwidth? I think that's a big question mark on SME IPO. Number one, even if you create a bandwidth, do we have enough data points to basically analyze those SME IPO to do the justice to because they don't do analyst meet. We don't know how good or bad the management. Unless you talk to the management, you don't get much of a comfort, sir. Harshat Kale saying, next time when you are unwell, please postpone the webinar. We will never complain because we all respect you and for dedicated sincerity. We are awaiting your webinar in financial ratios and the relevance in stock selection. Harshat Kale sir, thanks a lot for your concerns about my health. See, it's not that I'm so bad that I cannot come in front of you, okay? But if I'm really bad, of course I will not come in. But it's also unfair on my part, that you people registered, you blocked your calendar for this webinar, and then at the last moment I ditch you, which I don't like to do that. But thanks for your concern. Of course, webinar financial ratios, I don't think I've ever said that I'll do the webinar. I'll ask my team members to do financial ratios and relevance in stock selection. But remember, the market is beyond this financial ratios. Second thing, how do you connect the financial ratios? That's what our IP does. Linking one data point. So these financial ratios are not to be seen in isolation. It's a combination, and you need to look in consonance with other parameters also. But definitely, Amit, mujhe bhijwa dena. We'll ask my team basically to work on this. Chaitanya saying September has given negative return 7 out of 11 years, sir, not 10 years, 11 years, because 2013 is also included. There are more chances of return this time. Your thoughts? Very difficult to say. And sir, why do we want to have a 1 month view? In fact, this data I have put it because someone asked for it. You don't want to read too much into it. अगर समझो negative भी तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Are you investing in the equity market for 1 month? The answer is no. So why do we want to just... sometimes, I also wonder, why do I accept your people request also? Because if I give the data, you will go in the wrong direction. And in a way, I'm making you a short-term investor, which I'm feeling little guilty now when I look at this kind of a question. क्या फर्क पड़ता है वो negative है positive है? Are you investing for 1 month? Even if had it been 10 out of 10 years also is negative, should I change my view on the market? The answer is no. यार एक महीने के लिए कौन आता है market में? But what I can tell you, market normally is a very good market. Sentiment is really good during Diwali time, and we are not very far from Diwali. Am I right? So don't have too much short-term view on the market. That's what my request would be. And I don't know whether... So now I want you people to tell me, because I put that how market behaves every month based on your people feedback. Should I put it or should I remove it? Because that's going to make you short-term investor. I don't want that to be there. That's a crime that I am committing in front of you. Sir is saying, looks like Fed rate cut is already factored in the price of stocks. If so, do you see the possibility of sale of stocks once rate cut are announced? So I think, sir, we are not only talking about one rate cut. We are talking about 2 more rate cuts after September. Number one, I think the market is not looking at the rate cut. I think the market is looking at the quantum of rate cuts. And now there are debates there. If there are more aggressive rate cuts, that means there is a fear of recession in the US economy. So how market will react to that is also a little dilemma. It's very difficult to read nowadays, how market is going to behave with this. So my sense is that don't read too much into it. Is it discounted? My answer is no. That's what my understanding is. Sarang sir, what to do with my portfolio at current stage of my PF consists of 70% of portfolio consists of 70% of small cap, 20% mid cap and only 10% large cap. Should I book profit in profitable small cap and shift to large and mid? So Sarang sir, first you remove that market cap as a criteria only. Look at the stock that you are holding. If the stock has a fundamental reason to perform well, why do you want to get out of that? Irrespective of whether it's a small, mid or large. Don't do that. But if there's a momentum stock or something, please then basically be careful what you should do to it. So instead of looking at large, mid and small, look at reason why you invested in that company and whether this reason continues to hold true or not. If yes, please continue to hold. See, I'm suggesting you what I'm doing in my personal. I will never get out of a company because of small cap, because of mid cap, because of a large cap. I'll get out of that company when my reason for getting into that company no longer remains valid. Then please do that. So look at company-wise company rather than looking at large cap, mid and small cap. Himadri saying, hello, during the 2016 US election, we witnessed a political climate marked by concerns such as job loss, fears of recession, which ultimately led to a change in administration. This time we also face additional geopolitical challenges in September, October, to some extent November. We observed that a slight correction in the Dow as well as in the, given this factor, do you think history will repeat itself? Thanks. So I can't recollect 2016 what happened. But I can distinctly recollect what happened in 2020. It was a certainty. Sorry, 2016 also, yes. 2016 only there was a certainty that Trump is not going to win. And if Trump wins, market will go down. What happened, Himadri ji? Market was up by more than 30% in 15 months after Trump becoming a president of US. And Trump did win. So I think it's still like if Biden was lagging so much behind, there was a certain that Trump is winning. And suddenly Biden moved out of the race. And today, if I read it correctly, there is a high probability that Kamala Harris is going to be the next president because she's leading in the election. But still a long time. And I don't know, you are saying the job loss and fear of recession. Let's wait for more data coming in. Do we see one more month of a poor data on job? Recession is not a given thing yet. So let's not try to jump it actually. And we are still almost 2 months away from the 5th November. I think the 5th November, if my memory serves me right, the election result would be. So wait and watch. Let's not jump it. See, one should not make an investment decision based on this kind of a data point. If you do that, probability is very, very high that you will not make money. Day before yesterday, I was addressing an audience of our HNI investors. Must be about 70, 80 HNI investors. And ask a very simple question there to the audience. How many of you look at your portfolio once a quarter? Only 3 to 4 hands रेस कि हम लोग सिर्फ क्वार्टर में एक बार देखते हैं. And I made a statement in front of everyone. These four people will make more money as compared to the rest of the audience in this. So because sometimes when we look at the data, small data, it has no meaning. So if you look at historically, it has no meaning who wins the election and what happens to the market. There is no clear-cut pattern as such. And many times market assumptions have gone completely wrong. And yet market given a good returns. So don't link too much with that. Ashish is saying, as a Hong Kong resident, I'm an NRI based in Hong Kong and enjoy 0% capital gain on the US stock market. Is there a PMS service for NRI customers in the US market, or is it the Infinum model portfolio only choice for now? So I don't have much of an idea about. Is there a concept called PMS for the US stock market? I am not aware about it, so please pardon me for my limited understanding or knowledge about it. Infinhub is a good model for you if you really ask me to do that. So please use Infinhub as a model to start. And of course, you can keep exploring any similar service like PMS for NRI to invest in the US market. I'm not aware about it. Just 1 minute. Why is there a growth in many jewelry stocks? I think very simple reason. Couple of things has happened. Number one, in our stock of the week, which was presented by our group CEO Amit yesterday, you would have seen his presentation. He talked about that the industry outlook. Government reduced the import duty. That brought down the price of the what we call gold, and when it's a very price sensitive item, right? So lower the price, the volume increase. Number one. Number two, huge unorganized sector in the jewelry market, and slowly and steadily the business is shifting from unorganized to the organized because of purity concerns, because of quality designs, because of resale value, and so on and so forth. People are going there. And number three, this time marriage season seems to be better as compared to what it was there last year. So there will be more demand for the jewelry. So these are the three reasons why growth in the jewelry stocks. Sandeep, get well soon. Thanks a lot, Sir Sandeep ji, for your wish. I should be fine tomorrow. Please keep eye. COVID is getting spread in flights only. I met few Japanese people. They were saying the COVID is spread badly in China and Japan. Keep eye. COVID is getting spread in flights only. What is eye COVID, sir? I don't know what is it. But you anyway. Thanks for your concern and thanks for your advice. See, sometimes I need to travel. I don't know what needs to be done. Maybe I need to wear a mask. But this has nothing to do with my this one. I'll tell you because I consume in the lounge, sitting in lounge. I don't eat anything, so I thought let me have fruits, and that fruits were a little chilled. वो खाने से, and unfortunately that both the fruits are has a high tendency to make you sick. One was the watermelon, and second thing was the muskmelon. I ended up eating chilled one, and then I sat in the flight, which was again chilled. I think that really impacted my health. But thanks for, of course, I'll keep in mind, Sandeep ji. Maybe next time I should start wearing mask. Siddharth, can we buy unlisted stocks on your platform through PMS? So we don't have any unlisted stocks on our platform. And through PMS, we don't invest in PMS unlisted stocks. If you look at our disclosure documents also, we clearly stated we are not going to invest in unlisted, because how do we calculate the NAV? Because every day we are supposed to show the market returns, am I right, and the portfolio returns. Unlisted company में मैं कहाँ से देके आऊँगा price उसका? So we don't do that. I don't think any PMS in the country invest in unlisted. Yes, AIF can invest. I don't think PMS invest. That's my understanding is. Satya is saying best wishes for the quick review. Thanks a lot. What's the best way to invest in IPOs given that there are challenges in getting allotment due to the oversubscription? Not everyone can get lucky with allotment. Any mutual fund which primarily invests in good IPO through bulk allotment or institutional allotment? I'm not aware about any mutual fund does that. Only thing I would suggest, if you have 4 family members, Satyaji, ask all 4 family members to invest in that IPO. That increase the probability of getting allotment. Otherwise, I don't know any solution. And the luck, which you said, is a very important factor. Maybe it's a luck that you need to apply. Apply with all family members. That's the best way you can increase your allotment chances in the IPO. Can I request Amir, last 3 questions if you don't mind. DK is saying looking at your share price every day is like installing a CCTV in the forest to watch trees growing. You are absolutely bang on, sir. DK sir, आदमी सब समझदार है, but करता कुछ उल्टा है. In fact, I'll again give you a classical example. In the same HNI investor meet, I ask how many people look at their portfolio on Saturday and Sunday, and many people raise their hands. तो हमारा जो साइकोलॉजी हो गया, एंड आई डोंट ब्लेम देम बिकॉज ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, बिकॉज ऑफ बिजनेस टीवी चैनल्स, and because of apps, up minute to minute you can look at your portfolio value. So that has happened. You're right, absolutely. You can't basically see forest by CCTV every second. This one, that has become a new norm. And if you can't control your emotions, you will not make money. That's what I've realized. That's why I said 2 investors starting on the same day with the same portfolio, with the same allocation of each and every stock. One will make money over a medium to long term. One will not make money. The only difference is because of discipline and the patience. The guy who will not make money is the guy who does not have a patience and the discipline. The guy who will make money who has a discipline and the patience. That's what has happened. And I've seen that in my 30 years career. I'll give a classical example. A friend of mine, I'm talking about almost 5-7 years back की बात है. This is pre-COVID. We went to one of the restaurants closer to our Markets Mojo office only. And, we were exchanging ideas about the stocks. So, we suggested stock and we left. 2 friends bought same stock on the next day. So we met on Friday evening. The first day for someone could buy was on Monday morning. Both bought almost at the same time, at the same price, not at the same time, almost at the same price. Fortunately, both invested equal amount, like 10-10 लाख ही दोनों ने डाला था. One of my friends lost money in that company. The another friend, it has become a multi-bagger for him. The same company invested at the same time, same amount. See the difference. इसीलिए बोलता हूँ थोड़ा पेशेंस जरूरी है. हम हाइपर हो जाते हैं. And I don't blame him because people, no one wants to like watching 5-day match now. T20 become a new norm actually. Reduction in Om is saying reduction in inflation led to reduction in interest rate, which ultimately benefit the company and share market. But reduction in inflation also shows reduction in demand, which adversely affect the companies. How do you relate these two situations? You're absolutely right, sir. So we need to see whether this inflation is coming down? Is it because of better supply or poor demand? Am I right? Like food inflation is coming down because of better supply, because of better rainfall and so on and so forth. So what is the lever or what is the factor which is pushing up or pushing down inflation is very critical to understand. Is it demand shrinking or supply increase? And that will give you an idea whether it's a good or bad. Very simple answer, sir. Have a simple, this one you will come to know. We can invest in, Alan sir is saying we can invest in finance telecom sector. In this valuation, those stocks you have hold in your PMS. Are you asking me a question or you are making a statement, sir? I don't know. I assume that you want to ask a question that can we invest in finance and telecommunication? Of course, we do have in our PMS NBFCs and telecom stocks. So yes, I did mention that. एक और ले लो चलो. Amir, एक और ले लो please. I did mention 3, but sorry, I have one more last question. Satyendra sir, would you like to know views on pesticides and agriculture sector? See, if the sowing is good, monsoon is good, I think the pesticides and agriculture sector should do very well. I think government also announced that ethanol blending ka. I think logically they should do well. So my sense is that remain invested. With this, I know it's more, I over exceeded my time. It's almost 8:03 now. Thanks a lot everyone taking time out, attending this webinar. I thoroughly enjoyed. Again, I'll be in front of you. Thursday, I'm in front of you with our PMS customers, with our performance report card, because the first Thursday of the month. And Friday, have we kept something, Amir?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It's for only private.
Okay, that's a private event. Okay. Who is making a presentation? Me?
No, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. So again, I'll be back with in front of you, all customers next week, but on Thursday with the PMS customer. Good night. Take care.